Good morning, everyone. So we are at the very end of the liturgical year, and liturgical is just a fancy word that means like church stuff, basically. So the church has its own calendar year, and next Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent, which is a little season of preparation for Christmas, and that's the very beginning of the year. So right now we're at the very end. Last Sunday was, does anybody know what last Sunday was? The feast day? Last Sunday was a solemnity of Christ the King, King of the universe, right? And you'll notice, if you pay attention to the readings at Mass today, there's sort of this theme of the end times. And it's not meant to be doom and gloom, but rather it's reflecting the time of the liturgical year, that we're at the end of the year. We'll hear more about that in the homily. I don't want to get into it too much today, but just listen to the readings today and see if you can catch that theme of the end of all things. So let's just calm our hearts and we'll begin Mass. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. While some people were speaking about how the temple was adorned with costly stones and votive offerings, Jesus said, "All that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down." Then they asked him, "Teacher, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things are about to happen?" He answered, "See that you not be deceived, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and 'the time has come.' Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for such things must happen first, but it will not immediately be the end." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be powerful earthquakes, famines, and plagues from place to place, and awesome sights and mighty signs will come from the sky." The Gospel of the Lord. So as I said, these readings have this theme of the end times, and this reading from Revelation is particularly vivid, especially if you add on the last verse that's actually omitted in the reading in the lectionary here today. So this is from Revelation 14, and John is seeing this vision of this angel coming from the temple. He's using his sickle to reap the harvest. That was like a farm implement just to harvest grain, like this big blade. And he goes throughout the whole earth and harvests all of the earth, and it says he cuts the earth's vintage and threw it into the great winepress of God's fury. And then the next verse is that, "And blood flowed out from that winepress in every direction as high as a horse's bridle." So certainly like a very vivid image, right? It's meant to be an image of the power and the sovereignty of God. We just celebrated the solemnity of Jesus, King of the universe, that he in the end is the King of all things. You might ask, well, why does that matter for me, Father Joe? Well, it matters because we all are involved in all kinds of things, right? You're coming to the end of a semester. Some of you have done lots of sports this year, some state championships. We're all hoping for another one this weekend, right? There are all these things that we're involved in, and you could even expand out further than that. We're involved in our community here in Lansing or in the state of Michigan. We just had an election in our country. There are all kinds of things that go on that we care about, that maybe are causing stress or anxiety that we're invested in. And what a blessing to know that at the end of all of these things, Jesus is Lord. I was chatting with one of my brothers who was particularly anxious about the election, and I just said to him, I'm really grateful to place my hope in something that goes even beyond the election. Because, it can be stressful when you're in seasons like this. But I know that at the end of the day, Jesus is Lord. No matter what happens, Jesus is still going to be King. And so we can place our hope in something that goes beyond all of these things in this world that might be here in a moment, but then gone in the next. So often we think about the end times as something to be afraid of, like something to have trepidation over. But truthfully, the end times are something we should be grateful for. Right, we're about to celebrate Thanksgiving. There are lots of things that we can be grateful to God for. Let's thank Him for the fact that He is King. that someday all of this stuff that we're so consumed in now will come to an end, and God will bring about that peace and that justice that only He can truly achieve. And we get to be a part of that. We live and taste it in small ways here and now, but there will come a day at the end of all time when God will truly be the King of all of existence.